Hello, Woodhaven family, and welcome back to the Journey 24/7 podcast. This is your host, Chandler, here with you, and I am so excited to dive into Genesis chapter 2 today. As always, if you haven't read chapter 2 yet, make sure you pause the podcast and go and read that before we dive into it. But if you have already read it, we're going to go ahead and jump in. So yesterday we saw God creating the world. He created everything yesterday in the first 6 days. Today we start off by seeing it's the seventh day, and God rests. God rests and thus establishes the seventh day as holy, and it shows us the importance for us to honor that and for us also to rest. You see, God commands us to work hard, but he also commands us to rest, so it's important for us to remember that. But then we jump in after that, and we see a more detailed account of the creation of man and woman. We saw yesterday that God created male and female, but today we actually see a more detailed account of that. And we see that God created man actually from the dust, from the ground. We came from dust. Again, we talked yesterday about God's power and just how the fact that he could speak things into existence. Also the fact that he created man and woman, or man from dust and then woman from man. Is just such an incredible testimony of his power and his strength and just his control over all and the way that he has created it all. So we see God who created man. He realizes man needs a helper. And when we say realizes it, we know God already knew this because he is sovereign. He's all-knowing. He knew what was going to happen. So he already knew man was going to need a helper. So we see in verse 18, then the Lord God said, "It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helper fit for him." That phrase right there, it is not good that man should be alone. It's important for us to remember. None of us were made to be alone. We were made to live in community. And here God's talking about a helper, and we see him ultimately in just a minute as we will talk about establish what we think of as marriage, in that the man leaving his father and mother and hold fast to his wife. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But that phrase, "it is not good that man should be alone," surpasses just marriage. See, we were called to live in community. And that's what we're doing here in this Journey 24/7 mindset. We are coming alongside another believer, and we are pushing each other to look more and more like Christ, and we are building a relationship with one another. A real, genuine, true relationship. Because God has called us to not be alone. So we see that the man gives names to all the livestock. He's still alone at this point, and he was given the name Adam. But for Adam, there was not found a helper fit for him. So the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon the man, and while he slept, took one of his ribs and closed up its place with flesh. And the rib that the Lord God had taken from the man, he made into a woman and brought her to the man. Then the man said, This at last is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. Right there, the establishment of marriage. You see, marriage was there from the beginning. God created it from the beginning between one man and one woman. The man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one. Marriage wasn't this modern invention. No, marriage was created from the beginning of creation. As soon as man and woman were made, God had already established marriage and the fact that it was between one man and one woman. It's important for us to remember that it was the created order of our Father. And then it says, and the man and his wife were both naked and were not ashamed. You see, they still had this innocence about them because they were perfect. Everything was still perfect in this moment. You know, yesterday we talked about reflecting on that. Just that stage of the earth when it was still perfect before Adam and Eve fell. Well, here we're still in it for one more day. Where creation was still perfect. Adam and Eve, they had become man and wife. Sin had not entered into the world. Tomorrow we're going to see where that happens. And we're going to see just the consequences and everything that comes from that. But just take one more day just to reflect on what that perfect world would be like. What a perfect communion with our Father and living with Him in perfect harmony truly would be like. And then tomorrow we'll get into the fall and just all of the repercussions from that and what we can learn from that and the effects that it still has on us today. But I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a wonderful time just reflecting on this. And I pray that you would just go and you would glorify God in all that you're doing. We'll see you back tomorrow as we continue this journey together in Genesis 3. Have a good one.